of 2020 as the ball dropped above a sparsely populated Times Square, a weary nation cautiously hoped for better times. Dreams that were quickly dampened. 2021 was just 6 days old when a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, hoping to overturn the presidential election. The images from that day captured in the Capitol Rotunda, in Speaker Pelosi's office, in the Senate chamber. They're indelible portraits of a deadly uprising that stunned the world, yet failed to stop lawmakers from certifying the election results.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes.
In the days that followed, the streets of Washington looked more like a war zone as the nation's focus shifted from insurrection to inauguration. At the scaled-down ceremony, President Biden was sworn in as America's 46th president.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
Kamala Harris became the country's first female VP. Well, in the audience, Senator Bernie Sanders made a meme-worthy fashion statement. The outgoing president refused to stick around for the festivities, but could not escape another impeachment.
The President of the United States incited this insurrection.
Accused of inciting the riots, Donald Trump became the first American president to be impeached twice. He was later acquitted by the Senate.
Donald John Trump, former president of the United States, is not guilty.
It was a dramatic start to a year still dominated by COVID.
We learned this morning that the pandemic has now taken 400,000 lives in the U.S.
As the country emerged from a deadly winter, vaccines became more available, first to the most vulnerable, then to all adults, and eventually to most kids.
How bad was it?
Not bad at all.
Despite the welcome shot in the arm, more Americans died from COVID this year than last, as the more contagious Delta variant surged and hospitals filled again, treating mostly unvaccinated patients.
Now we are treating patients in the hallways.
Mask mandates sparked rage at school board meetings.
Let the parents make the decisions. Let the kids breathe.
As classrooms cautiously return to in-person learning.
I'd rather wear it because I don't want to get COVID.
In a way, all of us were students this year as our vocabularies expanded to include new terms, breakthrough cases, boosters, and by year's end, Omicron. As the pandemic raged, so did nature's fury.
We're huddled under all the blankets that we have.
In February, a deadly ice storm paralyzed Texas, leaving millions without power. Wildfires continue to ravage the West, while Hurricane Ida carved a path of destruction that stretched from Louisiana to New York. And this month, more than 100 were killed by a series of rare December tornadoes in Kentucky and surrounding states, one twister cutting a path more than 200 miles long. It was a year of fatal tragedies. The Astroworld concert in Houston, a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and a condo building in Surfside, Florida.
It just felt like an earthquake. Whoever thinks a building's gonna collapse on you, just never.
Without notice, the 12-story tower partially collapsed, killing nearly 100 people while many slept. Tragedy also reached a movie set in New Mexico, where actor Alec Baldwin was handed a gun that fired a real round, killing the film's cinematographer. Some of last year's biggest stories led to this year's biggest trials.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
A jury found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of murdering George Floyd. The verdict celebrated outside the courthouse and beyond. In Georgia, 3 white men were convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
In Wisconsin, teenager Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges after shooting 3 men during protests last year. exacerbating the growing political chasm in America in a year already filled with partisan tensions and pointed debates over controversial issues, including abortion and transgender rights. Political harmony was not totally elusive.
Yeah.
Bravo. Capitol Hill lawmakers passed a bipartisan infrastructure bill and overwhelmingly voted to make Juneteenth a federal holiday.
Warnock now 83.2%.
And if you thought our politics would settle down after the last election, think again. The year started with Democrats flipping 2 Senate seats in Georgia and ended with Republicans flipping the governor's seat in Virginia. Overseas, America ended the 20-year war in Afghanistan, pulling the last remaining U.S. troops out of the country. The world watched as the Taliban rapidly reclaimed control. Desperate Afghans tried to flee.
Kabul is falling now.
In the chaotic final days, a suicide bomber killed 13 service members, all of it sparking international criticism for how the withdrawal was handled. President Biden stood by his decision.
After 20 years of war in Afghanistan, I refuse to send another generation of America's sons and daughters to fight a war that should have ended long ago.
In October, world leaders gathered once again in person in Rome for the G20 conference, then in Glasgow for the UN Climate Conference. Notably missing, Queen Elizabeth, forced to bow out over health concerns. It was a challenging year for the royal family, starting in March when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down for a headline-making interview with Oprah Winfrey.
There's a conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
That conversation I'm never going to share.
The royals also said goodbye to the Queen's husband of more than 70 years, Prince Philip, who died at the age of 99. His one of many notable deaths this year, former Secretary of State Colin Powell, Senator Bob Dole, actress Cicely Tyson, Broadway legend Stephen Sondheim, The Sound of Music's Christopher Plummer, and so many more. It was the year that Jeopardy struggled to find a permanent host.
Welcome to the second of our 3 semifinal matches.
That Britney was finally freed from her conservatorship. That our friends reunited. And that movie blockbusters made their long-awaited return, along with Broadway and Adele. The Olympic flame belatedly burned 1 year later than planned as Tokyo hosted the 2020 Games in 2021. Superstar gymnast Simone Biles traded high scores for high praise when she withdrew from several events to focus on her mental health.
I have to focus on my mental well-being, and that's what I did.
Tiger Woods started swinging again following a serious car crash in California. And billionaires raced to space. Even Captain Kirk took a trip to the final frontier.
I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary.
An inspiring reminder of what the future holds.
I did it, America!
As we reflect on a year dominated by vaccines and hope 2022 offers a shot at something even better.